Are Newcastle United raiding Serie A not for one more player, but potentially two more players? Amazing stuff coming out of Newcastle United in this transfer window. Yes, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. Newcastle's invasion of Serie A seems to be continuing. According to Gianluca Di Marzio from Sky Italia, he calls himself a transfer expert on Twitter, but he certainly is a man who knows a lot about Serie A and knows a lot about transfers coming in and out, and he is reporting that Newcastle's interest will continue on other players in Serie A. Of course, Sandro Tonali is on the verge of signing for Newcastle United. That should get completed in the next 48 hours or so. But in terms of other players that Newcastle United could be going for in terms of Serie A, we'll stick with AC Milan first. And Theo Hernandez, the left back from AC Milan, is the first name that we're going to be discussing today. Left back, and Newcastle United, of course, I think Newcastle fans will appreciate what Dan Burn has done, but I think they would like an out-and-out left-back. And Eddie Howe hasn't probably made any secret of that. He would like a new left-back at Newcastle United. And a man that, of course, Gianluca Di Marzio is reporting is Theo Hernandez. Very attacking-minded. Very, very, very attacking-minded. Very comfortable on the ball. A lot of people have been mentioning the fact that because he's so attacking-minded, is that just too much in terms of, say, a Kieran Trippier who, is allowed to have the freedom to do what he likes going on that right-hand side and put as many crosses as possible. I don't think that is. I think that is just natural now for fullbacks. You look at Liverpool, Andy Robertson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, both attacking-minded, both, want to try and get involved as much as possible. I think that's what Eddie Howe wants to do with Newcastle United. And Hernandez is a man, again, who, like I said, we'll talk about how direct he is, but he's very comfortable in terms of getting a cross in. He has an eye for a goal. Again, I want to say this in the nicest possible way, but he's a massive upgrade on a Davide Santon. I thought Davide Santon at Newcastle was attacking minded, but just didn't have that end product. But at times, I think looking at Hernandez, a lot of big clubs have been after him. Manchester United have been credited with an interest if Luke Shaw hadn't signed a new contract last season. So again, there's a lot of big clubs after him. Again, how difficult is this transfer going to be? I think it is going to be very, very difficult. Likes of Fabrizio Romano has mentioned that Hernandez is comfortable in AC Milan and it would have to take something extraordinary for him to leave, because he is very, very settled there and he does enjoy the Milan lifestyle. But money matters, money talks, and it may be something that AC Milan would have to do in the future, is to potentially make that sale if that's what they feel is necessary for them. But Newcastle have gone for AC Milan once with Sandro Tonali. Will Sandro Tonali and Theo Hernandez both be playing in Newcastle United shirt? That is one to keep an eye on. In terms of the other Italian player that Newcastle United have been credited with an interest in, with the same person, Gianluca Di Marzio, is the Juventus striker Federico Chiesa. In terms of Chiesa, striker, only scored 4 goals for Juventus in all competitions last season. But Newcastle seem to have liked something in regards into Chiesa. Now, what will they like? Well, he's got very good close control. He's got I think from what I've seen in terms of just looking at clips and that, I'm not an expert in Serie A football. I'm not putting it out there, but he's got a good low sense of gravity as well. He's very difficult to take the ball off people. He's very rugged, and he's determined to try and do as much as he can. He does have a good finish in his locker. He did have an ACL injury, which I think obviously was difficult for him. And it's difficult for most players when they have an ACL injury. So again, for what Juventus will probably look for, will Newcastle see that as a risk in terms of a fee? Because that is one thing that I would worry if I was, say, doing a medical or looking at the big numbers. If we're putting a lot of money into a player, that Newcastle have got to be careful in terms of the financial fair play. Is that something that you want to do? But there's no doubt there's so much quality with Chiesa. It really is. He had a great partnership with Ronaldo when Ronaldo was at Juventus. But look, for me, it'd be something that you'd certainly look into, but it has to be, I think the price has to be right on that one, because I think, again, I remember Jamie Rubin saying on a recent podcast, their pound has got to be more significant than, say, Manchester United, Chelsea, and Manchester City and Arsenal in terms of how they spend a pound. And he's quite right, especially considering that we're at the infancy at this. But I wouldn't be against the signing because he is an absolutely fantastic player. But I wonder if Newcastle may look at other options if they do tend to look down for another forward option. But look, get your comments and get your thoughts in. Who would you like to see at Newcastle? Would you be happy with Hernandez? Would you be happy with Chiesa? Tell us a little bit more about these players from what if you watch Serie A on a more regular basis. But yeah, it should be exciting because that's what the transfer window is all about. It's making it exciting, seeing so many different players in a black and white shirt. But yeah, like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you all very soon.